Penguin Random House Audio presents The Museum of Desire, an Alex Delaware novel by Jonathan Kellerman. Read for you by John Rubinstein. Chapter 1. Eno trudged up the road. Big fancy property like this may be a chance to hit a lick. His last stretch at county had ended 82 days ago. Then he was back on the street looking for bank. Trying a few things that didn't work out, so having to do this. Bright dawn cleaning and maintenance. He'd filled out a half-page questionnaire. Have you ever been convicted of a felony? Hell yeah. He'd checked no. Later, he found out from dudes at the Cyril you weren't even allowed to ask anymore. He'd have lied anyway. It was good to stay in practice. Looking for shit to steal was Eno's thing when he was at rich people houses doing landscaping or roofing. His specialty was small stuff no one would notice till he was long gone. Street sale or pawn at one of the places that didn't ask questions. He thought of himself as careful, but not careful was not noticing an old Mexican maid at a house in Hancock Park after he spotted a little gold box on a table from outside a sliding glass door. The door unlocked. Shiny thing just sitting, shouting, "Come and get me." Maids looking from around a corner. Being sneaky. Whose fault was that? That had earned Eno 3 months at county while waiting for trial. All charges dismissed because the maid went back to Mexico. Plus, they never found the box because Eno had ditched it in some bushes before the cops showed up. Lack of evidence, his PD announced, proud of herself, like she did something. Maybe he should go back and look for the box in the bushes. Nah, be careful. So now he was pushing a big plastic wheelie can up a long private road early on a Sunday morning. The can full of gloves and bleach and soaps and rags and Windex, a broom and a shovel attached to the side. Another party house to clean up. Worst job he'd ever had. Getting up at 5 a.m. to start at 6, being driven all over the city in a service van, Lakeitha at the wheel, glaring at him and the other cleaners like they were the garbage. Like they were special needs kids on a special needs school bus. Eno knew about that. He'd worked 2 houses this month, not a single lick. No surprise, he guessed. The places were mostly empty except for rented furniture. The disgusting shit people left behind, even with the gloves, it grossed Eno out. He'd do it just until something better came along. If nothing fell into place soon, maybe he'd take the next step. Mask and hoodie up, get weaponated, do the "gimme your money, motherfucker." Targeting drunk, downtown club yuppie scum weaving around like worms. Lots of clubs, walking distance from his room at the Cyril. What a shitbox that was. Not much better than a cell. At least Section 8 was paying for it. As he pushed the wheelie, he tried to concentrate. Always a challenge. Yeah, easy enough to take the next step and just go for the gold. Unless you got blowback from a drunken yuppie. Eno had never been a fighter, and at 43 he had no muscles left. Motherfucker fought back, Eno would have no choice. Bang. Maybe too big a step. Meanwhile, he'd do this. Pushing uphill, his mind wandering. Nothing at the top except other people's shit. He stopped for breath, arms and chest and legs aching. A few more steps and the drive curved around, and he finally saw the house. Whoa! Biggest one so far. More like one of them castles, with 2 of those things that stick out on castles on either end, whatever they called them. The whole thing looked like it was made of gray castle stones. Then Eno saw it was just regular stucco with lines in it. Fake out, but still like a castle. As he got closer, the house got even huger. Like it was put there to make him feel small. All that was missing was one of them water thingies they put around castles. Alligators and dragons swimming around, snapping their jaws. One of them mokes. That would be something. Big moke full of monsters, just waiting to grab you by the business. Chainsaw teeth. Before you knew it, you were a street taco. Eno shuddered, imagining, stopped for more breath, resumed wheeling. Man, this was steep. Not only didn't this castle have no moke, there was nothing out front, period. Not even a lawn, just dirt. Why couldn't the company drive him up from Benedict Canyon? He'd asked Lakeitha. No answer. Bitch just sped off, leaving him with a fucking hike. Eno hated hiking. Reminded him of when he was doing state park service as part of his first arrest at 15 in San Bernardino. He finally almost got to the top. Place was a joke, lick-wise. Halfway up, he'd seen an alarm sign from a company he knew had went out of business 5 years ago. A protected by video surveillance sign, but no cameras. On top of that, the gate on Benedict was left wide open since like 3 a.m. Saturday when the party ended. The crap that was going to be left behind, sitting there, all clotted and sticky, a pain to scrub. Another pause to breathe, then he made it to flat ground. The place was huge. Would take every minute of the 7 hours bright dawn gave him. $12 an hour plus the shit lunch they packed for the workers. Huge place, but a one-man assignment. The rules were always the same. Start with the outside, then do the inside. There'd be a back door left unlocked. Eno looked up at those two tall things. What did they call them? Turbines? No, turbits. Couple of turbits sticking into the sky. Darker gray than the sky. Everything gray. June gloom, his Aunt Audrey used to call it. But this was May. Eno called it L.A. shit air. Maybe there'd be something here. Not just red cups, empties, used condoms and needles. He looked for access to the backyard. Nothing on the left. There was a stone wall blocking him. But walking to the right side of the castle showed him another iron gate, wide open. Nice iron, all fancy with squiggly things and flowers and twisted bars. The metal by itself some serious bank, but he had no way to transport it. Years ago, he'd gotten into copper wire, did real good selling to places on San Fernando. Then, at a plumbing supply yard on Alameda, he got nailed by a junkyard dog that came out of nowhere and busted by a rent-a-cop with a Glock. That had earned him 5 months at county. Grand theft pled down to petty, the first 45 days in the infirmary healing his leg. The rest of his sentence they had to put him in protective because all the regular cells were taken up by gangsters. Maybe scrap metal wasn't his thing. He pushed the wheelie through the gate opening. What should have been a driveway, but was dry dirt. Like someone built the castle, then hated it and decided not to finish. It took a while to get past a long wall of fake stone, but finally he reached the backyard. More nothing green, just a wall of trees all the way at the back, like someone was trying to take out a forest. Facing the back of the castle was one of those covered things rich people used for sitting in, a round dome roof covered by dead brown vines that reminded Eno of coiling snakes. Over to the right was an empty blue hole where a big pool would have been if the hole had water. At least one lucky break, he wouldn't have to fish out used condoms. But around the fake stone pool deck he spotted some, along with red cups and broken bottles. Eno wasn't paying attention to any of that. His eyes were to the left of the pool. Something different. A super-stretched town car, white, one of those prom specials. Eno had ridden in one when he was 19, invited by his friends when they graduated high school, even though he'd dropped out in 10th. First he'd said, nah. they'd said, "Hey, E-Man, fuck graduation, you can still party." So he...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?